Please rise. Municipal Court for the City of Stoughton is now in session. The Honorable Matthew T. Rothy presiding.
Please be seated. Please silence all cell phones, cease conversations, and see nobody's wearing a hat, so that's good. We'll call the court to order at this time. My name is Matt Rothy. I'm the municipal judge for Stoughton. I'd like to review some of the procedures we follow in the court. These procedures are set forth in the pamphlet as you enter the courtroom. This is an initial appearance. I take pleas tonight. Your three plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty. If you enter a no contest or guilty plea, I'll review the police report, and if there's a factual basis, I'll find you guilty and impose an appropriate forfeiture. A plea of no contest is similar to a guilty plea, but a conviction arising from a no contest plea cannot be used against you in a later civil action. Let me explain that. If you get in a traffic accident, you allegedly cause damage and receive a citation. If you enter a no contest plea to that citation, you're not admitting guilt, and people can't use that plea against you if they sue you later for damages. A guilty plea means that basically that you're entering a guilty plea, you're admitting your guilt. No contest plea, you're not admitting guilt, but you want it to be resolved tonight as well. The forfeiture range from $20 to $1,000. However, almost all forfeitures are within the $50 to $200 range. The state mandates we add costs to your forfeiture. For example, a $50 forfeiture will result in a total fine to you of $124. I'll grant you 30 days to pay the fine. If you need additional time, please let me know. I have limited options to collect. I can suspend your driver's license for 1 year, intercept your taxes, submit your case to the Department of Revenue for collections, which includes wage garnishment. I'd rather not do these things. If you need more time than 30 days, please let me know, and we can enter into a payment plan. If you enter a not guilty plea, we'll set your case over to a pretrial conference at the next court session on June 7th. It's a phone conference between you and the prosecutor. You see if we can resolve the citation. If you can, the prosecutor reports the results to me, and as long as it's reasonable, I'll accept it. If you are unable to resolve it at the pretrial conference, it comes back to me for a trial. I hear the evidence from both sides, and then I make my decision based upon what I've heard. Those of you facing traffic offenses should understand that upon you lose the merit points upon conviction in most such offenses. They're usually between 3 and 6 points. If you lose 12 or more points within a year, you'll lose your license to drive. It'll be suspended. You'll also be fined. I'd like you to be aware of some of your rights before you enter a plea. You have a right to ask for a continuance. This means that you can request that your case be set over for another time, to consult with a lawyer, or for some other reason. You also have a right to a trial. Please remember your rights when considering your plea. Those of you charged with operating a motor vehicle while under the influence are entitled to request a jury trial at the circuit court upon proper payment of fees. With an OWI, you operating while intoxicated, you have to, if you have a trial at the municipal court level, you can't ask for a jury trial in the circuit court. You have to pick a jury trial right away. Otherwise, for operating while intoxicated, you can have initial appearance or initial trial here, and then you can have a trial in front of the Dane County Circuit Court judge, but you only in front of a judge and not a jury. You always have a right to appeal my rulings to the Circuit Court as well. With that, that concludes my opening remarks. We'll call the first case, which would be Deborah Hersmeyer. Let's see, that's it. Hermsmeyer. Did I get that right? Thank you. It just took me a couple tries. Ms. Hermsmeyer, do I have your correct address on Glen Drive in Cottage Grove? Yes. All right. You received a citation for non-registration of auto. That citation carries a penalty of 0 points and a forfeiture of $98.80. Now, let me get my right book out. There's a forfeiture range on this. You're actually at $30 plus costs. I can go higher or lower on this depending. Under the municipal code, I have to give you a range of forfeitures, even though it looks like you have something in your hand, which I'll be interested in. At $0 to $200 is a forfeiture range. So you're not at the minimum, but you're at the low end of the range, and it's 0 points. Do you understand what non-registration of auto is?
Yes.
All right. Now, do you have something in your hands?
Proof of registration.
Proof that you registered?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to give that to the bailiff? That way I can take a look at it. Thank you. And you registered this right away?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you were stopped on, just maybe check this quickly. April 11th, and then when did you submit this for payment?
That's on the 12th.
Oh, okay. So you did it on the very next day?
Yep.
Okay. Now, if you were to take this to the prosecutor would dismiss this. Prosecutors also told me that when people bring in updated registration, that I'm okay to dismiss it, and upon the court's own motion, the citation will be dismissed because you updated your registration. So, dismiss, no fine owing, and that will take care of it, unless you have any objections.
Thank you very
All right,
much.
that will take care of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who's number 2? Oh. Technology is great until it's not. Are you a wizard? Are you affecting it?
Doing an update.
Yeah?
And
Oh, okay.
so I was able to catch up and cancel it, but now it's been, let me try to. There's a lot going on here.
John, make a phone too.
Shoot. Close the program. Okay, we'll try that one more time.
It's pretty close.
Let's just, let me just, yeah, all kinds of issues before you got here. Okay, looks like we're good.
Okay, so you get the first one entered.
Yeah, I have it all manually.
Okay.
Martinez is the next one.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. Technology issues sometimes. Edward Martinez. Mr. Martinez, so I have your correct address on Van Buren Street in Stoughton?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You received a citation of operating motor vehicle without insurance. This citation carries a penalty of $124 and 0 points. You understand what operating motor vehicle without insurance is?
Yes, sir.
All right. So you're facing a forfeiture of $50 plus costs. That's how they arrive at the $124. Let me check. There is a range of penalties on this. I'm required to tell you. It is under 344.62. $340.62.1. So the range is $0 to $500. So you're not at the minimum, but you're on the low end of the scale. You understand that as well?
Yes, sir.
And it's 0 points. Now, for operating motor vehicle without insurance, were you able to obtain insurance?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I got insurance right
All right,
here.
you want to give that to the bailiff?
Yep.
When did you receive the citation? It looks like April 11th.
Yep.
And then you were able to update it within 6 days.
Yes,
Okay?
sir.
Again, since you updated it immediately, and the prosecutor also would have done, has told me that if you enter not guilty plea and you show them proof of insurance, that they would go ahead and dismiss the citation, and I will do the same. So on the court's own motion, the citation is dismissed, unless you have any objections.
No, sir.
All right. Go ahead and dismiss the citation as well. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.
Ian Michael Foster. Mr. Foster, I have your correct address on Old Stone Road in Stoughton.
No, it's 409 East Street now.
409 East Street, E-A-S-T
Yes, sir.
Street, and is that in Stoughton?
Yes, sir.
Zip code is 53589.
Yep.
All right. Just a second, make sure I got that updated. Okay, you received 3 citations. One is for, the first one is for operating motor vehicle without insurance. That citation carries a penalty of $124 and 0 points issued your license. The second, okay, do you understand what operating motor vehicle without insurance is?
Yes, sir.
All right, the forfeiture on this is 0 to 50, 0 to 500, you're at $50 plus cost. You're at the, not at the minimum, but you're at the low end of the scale. You understand that? Is that a yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We establish a record, so if you want to appeal my decision, we always have to make sure that you answer all the questions yes or no. Otherwise, if I make a mistake, you might not be able to appeal me then. So, next citation is non-registration of auto. That citation carries a penalty of $98.80 and 0 points issued license. You understand what non-registration of auto is?
Yes, sir.
All right. The forfeiture range on this is 0 to $500 as well, and you're at the $30 plus cost. You're not at the minimum, but you're on the low end of the scale. You understand that as well?
Yes, sir.
All right. Third citation is, it's only 2. You're right, there's only 2. Now, you got a piece of paper in your hand. What do you have?
I have the updated registration. I do have a digital copy of my insurance, too.
Do you have that on your phone?
I do.
All right. I will only borrow your phone for a minute if you want to give the phone and the
Let me pull that up real quick.
documents to the bailiff.
There's that, and there's that.
Okay, so you received these on April 13th. April 13th is when you received this. It looks like you registered for your insurance the same day.
Yes, sir.
And then I have a certificate of registration. Let's see, this is just as effective through May 31st. Did you also register this soon after?
Yeah, same day.
Make sure that it's the same VIN number. It is. Okay. Mr. Foster, since you updated your insurance and updated your registration immediately, you've attained the court's goal. The prosecutor would have done the same thing if you had entered a not guilty plea. Based on the court's own motion, the court will dismiss both these citations, unless you have any objections.
No, sir.
All right. These citations are dismissed.
Thank
All right. Thank you. Okay. Hunter Cade Chappelle Gullickson. Did I say your name correctly, sir?
It's Chapel Gullickson.
Chapel, okay. Hunter Cade Chapel Gullickson.
Yep.
All right. Let me pull up your report briefly. Okay. Do I have your correct address on 2nd Street in Evansville?
Yep.
All right. You received a citation for speeding on a city highway 20 to 24 over the limit. That citation carries a penalty of 6 points, issued your license, and a forfeiture of $149.20. $120.49. Well, first of all, do you understand what speeding on a city highway is?
Yes.
And you understand the limit of 20 to 24 over?
Yep.
All right. Now, $149.20, that's $70 plus costs. This range is $30 to $300. So you're not at the minimum, but you're on the low end of the scale. You understand that as well?
Yes.
I mean, that means that I can go higher or lower depending on the facts and circumstances of your case. You understand that as well?
Yeah.
He's paid it too.
Oh, you've already paid the mortgage. Okay.
Yeah.
So, let me make sure I've got that. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Now, let's see. Before that, so, are you under 19?
No.
Okay. So, do you have a probationary license?
No.
Okay. So, on a speeding city highway, if you have a probationary license, a second moving violation doubles in points. But the way there's 3 tiers of speeding. There's 1 to 10 over, which is 3 points. There's 11 to 19 over, which is 4 points. Speeding, and speeding intermediate, and then speeding excessive is 20 to 24. Now you're at the speeding excessive limits, but what I do for this, and the prosecutor would have done the same thing if you enter not guilty plea, is that I offer a 10-mile-an-hour leeway. So instead of 20 to 24 over, if you go, I would reduce this to 11 to 19 over, which would be 4 points instead of 6. Same forfeiture of $149.20. Do you understand the 10-mile-an-hour leeway?
Yes.
All right. Do you have any procedural questions for the court?
No.
Now is the time I take your plea. What would your plea be to speeding 11 to 19 over for 4 points, same forfeiture, guilty, no contest, or not guilty?
Guilty.
Okay. You understand with a guilty plea, I must find you guilty?
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes.
Let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea.
Yep.
Okay. I have read the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea. Accept your guilty plea and find you guilty of speeding 11 to 19 over for 4 points. Okay. Anything else you'd like to say?
Nope.
I find that you've already paid the $149.60, so I'll forfeit the bond, and that's all. Since you've already paid, I don't have to give you 30 days or anything like that. I'll forfeit the bond. You've been found guilty, and the state will be notified, but that will take care of it this evening. Then.
Okay.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Natalie Miller. Ms. Miller, do I have your correct address on Van Buren Street in Stoughton?
Yes.
All right. You've been cited for operating without a valid license, first offense. This citation carries a penalty of $124 and 3 demerit points issued to your driver's license. Do you understand what operating without a valid license is?
Yes.
All right. Now, the forfeiture is $50 plus costs are $124. You understand that as well?
Yes.
Okay, and it's 3 points. The forfeiture range on this is, let me make sure I look this up. $343,053 is $0 to $200. So you're at $50 plus cost. You're about a quarter way up the scale, so I can go up or I can go down depending on the facts and circumstances. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Any procedural questions for me? Because I have one for you. Do you have a valid license now?
I do not.
Okay. Here's what I'd like you to do. So I would suggest that you enter a not guilty plea. I want you to talk to the prosecutor and see if you can get a license between now and when the pretrial conference is, and when we see it was June 7th. So between now and June 7th gives you a little bit of time to get your affairs in order, and then because I'm sure if you get a valid license, I'm sure the prosecutor would be very interested in that. Does that sound exactly what you want to do?
It does.
Okay, I'll go ahead and enter a not guilty plea for you. I'll give you do we have the paperwork ready? Okay. I'll give you a notice of the pretrial conference in just a minute, or actually the bailiff will. Now, at the pretrial conference, a chance to tell your side of the story, tell them that if you've updated your license, but make sure that you call in that day on June 7th, because if you don't, the prosecutor tell me that you didn't call in, I'll find you in default and I'll find you guilty, and I'll impose that forfeiture of $124 and 3 points. And what I can do is then you would have to pay within 30 days, and if you don't, I'd have to suspend your driver's license, intercept your taxes, etc. I'd rather not do that. So make sure that you attend the pretrial conference. I want to make sure that you enter into negotiations, and if you can get the deal, if you guys can resolve it, great. If you cannot, it comes back to me for a trial. I hear the prosecutor's evidence, and I hear your evidence, and I make my decision based upon what I've heard. So bottom line is make sure that you attend the pretrial conference and then bring whatever documents might help your case.
Okay.
Any questions for me?
No, sir.
Once you receive the notice of the pretrial conference, there'll be a phone number for you to call. Go ahead and call that number on June 7th, and that will take care of it for this evening then.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Riley Briggs? Ms. Briggs, do I have your correct address on Janesville Street in Oregon?
Yeah.
All right. You received a citation for speeding 16 to 19 miles over the limit. This citation carries a penalty of 4 points and a forfeiture of $124. Do you understand what speeding is?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand what speeding 16 to 19 over is as well?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, this is a $50 fine plus costs. That's how we reach $124. $50 is kept by the city of Stoughton, and the other $74 gets spread amongst various county and state funds, basically. You understand that as well?
Yes.
All right. Now, you were here earlier in the courtroom when I had another speeding case, but I'll explain this to you as well. There are 3 tiers of speeding. There's simple speeding, which is 1 to 10 over. There is speeding intermediate, which is 11 to 19 over, which is what you've been cited for. And then there's speeding excessive, which is 20 to 24 over the limit. Now, normally for these speeding, I give a 10-mile-an-hour leeway. So at a set of 16 to 19 over the limit, I would reduce this to 1 to 10. The idea being if you would enter a not guilty plea, speak with the prosecutor would make the same offer. The prosecutor's authorized me to make that offer from the bench as well. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
So this will you be facing a speeding 1 to 10, which would be 3 points instead of 4.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, do you have a probationary license?
I believe I'm still on one.
Okay. Let me check your date of birth. I want to make sure that we've reviewed that. All right. Okay, thank you.
I think it expires this June.
Okay, so I have that you're 18. Your probation, did you get the license soon after you turned 16?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
But then it was, I think I had like a 15-day
Right.
suspension, so then I think it set my probationary back a little bit.
Okay. Normally, what happens is when you get your license, it's then, say if you get it 16 years, it's usually 2 years plus whatever remainder is left. So basically, your probationary license lasts until you're 19.
Okay.
So you like, could check it, but it's almost certain that you are still on a probationary license. Now, have you received a moving violation before?
Yes.
Okay. How long ago?
I want to say like over a year.
Okay, because it's just, if this is your second moving violation, the point, even if I reduce it to 3, the point totals will double from 3 to 6.
Yeah.
So, you would have to go until, without the rest of the year on only 6 points.
Right.
Now, there is a point reduction class, and we can give you information on that if you're interested in. But I just want you to be aware of the possible consequences you have for receiving a second moving violation while having a probationary license.
Right.
Okay.
Are you able to check how many points I have right now, or no?
Yes.
Okay.
No. I don't have a printout of your record.
Okay, that's okay.
Do you?
I don't have it either, just whenever they get there.
So I would give a $10 hour leeway. But however, if you want to give more time to just inspect, just to see how many citations you've received in the last year and what your points are, you can always go up to any DMV center in order and look at your records as well.
Okay.
If you want to do that, if you want to get it over with tonight, enter a no contest or guilty plea. If you need more time to review your records, you can enter a not guilty plea and then speak with the prosecutor on June 7th. That will give you a little time to investigate your driver's record.
Okay.
All right. Any other procedural questions for me? Okay. Now's the time I take your plea. Your 3 plea options are guilty, no contest, or not guilty to speeding 1 to 10 over the limit.
Guilty.
Okay. You understand with a guilty plea, I must find you guilty?
Yes.
Let me read the police report. I want to make sure I have a factual basis for your plea. Okay, I have read the police report. I do find a factual basis for your plea. I'll accept your guilty plea and find you guilty. Anything you'd like to say before I decide on a sentence?
Sorry, what was that?
Anything you'd like to say to
No,
me? Otherwise,
no.
okay. I found you guilty of 1 to 10 over the limit. I think the forfeiture amount of $124 is reasonable, and I'll assess that forfeiture. Ms. Briggs, how much time do you need to pay for the $124?
Whatever is fine.
30 days is standard, will you be?
Perfect.
Okay, I'll give you the receipt on that. You can mail in payment. Just make sure that you pay within 30 days, because if you don't, I have to suspend your driver's license for a year and intercept your taxes, et cetera. I'd rather not do that. So,
Okay.
especially over a relatively simple speeding citation as
Yeah.
well. So, okay, just make sure that you pay within 30 days. If you need more time, there's a number on the form that you can call just to request more time as well.
Okay.
Okay, once you receive the yellow citation evidencing the conviction, you're free to go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sandra Shipmilfing? Shimmelfang. Did I get that right the second time?
You did good.
Okay. Ms. Schimmelfing, do I have your correct address on Jargo Road in Deerfield?
You do.
Okay. You received a citation for operating while suspended. This citation carries a penalty of $124 and 3 points issued to your driver's license. Do you understand what operating while suspended is?
Yes.
Okay. Forfeiture range is 50 plus cost. The forfeiture on this is $0 to $500. You're at 50 plus cost, not the minimum, but you're on the low on the scale. Understand that as well? And it's 3 points. Okay. Do you have a valid license now?
I do.
Okay. Here's what I'd like you to do. I can't amend the operating while suspended, but the prosecutor can. So what I would suggest is that you enter a not guilty plea.
Okay.
Speak to the prosecutor by phone on June 7th. Tell them that you updated the license. They'll probably request a copy of it.
Who do I call?
We'll give you that number in
Oh,
just a
okay.
minute then. So, does that sound like something that you would want to do?
Sure.
Okay, well, go ahead and enter a not guilty plea for you. We'll schedule this for a pretrial conference on June 7th. We'll give you the notice in just a minute.
Okay.
Make sure that you call on that number on that date,
Okay.
because if you don't call, prosecutor told me that you didn't call, I'll find you default and I'll find you guilty.
Okay.
So make sure that you call. If you have an updated license, they might require proof of that, so I'd have
Okay.
proof ready as well. And then say, I've updated my license and it's valid now, so I'm
Yeah.
sure they'll be interested in hearing that.
I had oh, he didn't put that on there. I had, the vehicle that we were on didn't have the registration,
Okay.
but I got it the next day as I got my license.
Well, congratulations, but you weren't cited for that then, so that's out of my purview. So make sure that you
I
call,
thought,
and
I
once
didn't
you
know if you
receive
wanted to
that.
see it or not.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That will take care of it for this
Have a
evening.
good day.
Thanks, you too. Kiriana? Kiriana Mataya? Kiriana Matea. Did I say it right the second time? Yes. All right. Thank you for coming in, Miss Matea. Matea, right? Got it. All right, let me pull up your name. All right, do I have your correct address on A Street in Mount Horeb?
No.
What's your correct address?
5148 Torino Court, Middleton, Wisconsin.
I'm sorry, I couldn't, it's the end of the day and I don't hear as well. 5148, what?
5148 Torino Court,
Can you spell
Middleton.
Trina for us?
Torino, Torino. But I'm literally going to leave in a month, so.
Okay. Torino Court, in what city was that in? Middleton?
Middleton, Wisconsin,
53562?
53562.
Okay. Ms. Matea, you received a citation for speeding on a city highway 16 to 19 miles an hour limit. That carries a penalty of 4 points and $124. 4 points issued driver's license, a forfeiture of $124. Do you understand what speeding on a city highway is?
Yes.
All right. Do you understand that you've been cited for 16 to 19 miles over the limit?
I understand, but I didn't want to.
Hang on. There's no prosecutor here, so I can't hear any type of argument.
Okay, yes, I understand.
It would happen if I heard argument, I would have to recuse myself, and you have to go see another judge, because I can't hear any facts before the case then, so.
Okay,
I just have
yes,
to
I
kind of explain the
understand.
forfeiture and the citations. So I understand the forfeiture, I understand 16, 19 over the limit. 4 points, and it's $50 plus costs is how you get to the $124. The forfeiture range is $30 to $300. You're at $50. You're not quite at the minimum, but you're at the lower end of the scale. You understand that as well?
Yes.
Now, you've been in the courtroom, so you understand that I give a 10-mile-an-hour leeway, and there's speeding, it's simple speeding, 1 to 10 over, which is 3 points. There's speeding intermediate, 11 to 19 over, which is 4, and there's speeding excessive 20 plus. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I would reduce this to speeding 16 to 19 over limit, but instead it would be 1 to 10 over, which would be 3 points instead of 4. You understand the 10-mile-an-hour leeway?
Yes.
Okay. Now, it sounds like you have a dispute with the citation. So if you want to
I
get
just have a question.
Oh, sure. What's the question?
So I didn't want to I was getting off of work. It was like 3 a.m. I didn't want to go back and forth with it, but I think there was actually a mistake with the police officer thinking it was me, because there was a lot of people leaving at that time. Stoughton Trailers, I'm a welder there, so everybody was off work at that time. Everyone was speeding, and I was like, I don't think he read my speed.
Okay.
I think it was one right behind me.
Okay. So what
Or in front of me, like we were all like
right.
out.
So it sounds like you have a dispute with that you were not correctly identified.
Well, my question would be.
Well, see, you just gave a statement though.
Well,
And
I wasn't
that
done.
was a statement. It's
I
a
was-
defense, and I might have to recuse myself.
I
But
was
what's your
still
question?
talking, but never mind. Is there any way you can go lower than 3 or no?
No,
For
but if you want
points.
to talk to the prosecutor, you can see if I would go with the 3. But if you want to dispute that you were not properly identified, you can enter a not guilty plea and speak to the prosecutor about it and have
Is
a pretrial
there a
conference.
virtual like with that?
It's a
Is there
phone call.
virtual? It's a phone call.
Yeah.
And then what would happen with the points, and it would just be postponed?
Yeah,
or?
The points don't get assessed until you're found guilty. So if you enter in a not
Okay.
guilty plea, there would be no points, no penalties assessed tonight. It depends on if you were able to reach a deal with the prosecutor.
Okay, so there's a way I can just do the rest of this virtually?
Yeah.
Okay, probably, because I'm like, I was not speeding, but okay.
All right, Karen Matea.
Matea.
Yeah, Matea. We'll go ahead and enter not guilty plea. We'll give you the notice for that pretrial conference in just a minute.
Okay. Is there a way you could give me those classes that you recommended to the other biracial lady?
Do we have information on the traffic safety class? Yeah, we do. Yeah, so the Department of Transportation, I can give that to you with the pretrial conference as well, so. Oh, this is, yeah, here we go. Driver training schools. This is driver training schools. Do you mean the point reduction class? Do we have that?
Yes, that's the one.
Okay. Okay, yeah, we've got some, yeah, that's fine. We've got some numbers for you to call as well, if you're interested in that, but.
Yes, please.
All right, okay. So we'll enter a not guilty plea again. It's a phone call on June 7th. You can present your defenses to the prosecutor, and if you're able to reach an agreement, the prosecutor will tell me the agreement. As long as it's reasonable, I'll accept it. If it's not, we come back here and can have a trial. You have the prosecutor present their evidence first, and then you present your evidence, and based upon what I've heard, I have to make my decision. The prosecutor has the burden of proof by clear, satisfactory, and convincing evidence.
Okay.
So-
I do want to add that I don't mind paying. Like, that's nothing. It's the
I understand.
points.
You don't need to say anymore. I would go ahead and
Okay.
enter not guilty plea,
All
and
right.
then that way we can talk to the prosecutor on the 7th.
Thank
Make
you.
sure that you call, because otherwise you'll be in default.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care.
All right, thank you. Okay, thanks.
Just a ton of people that entered not guilty pleas, once they saw one doing it, then they all
Oh, today?
started to do it. Yeah, and
That's
that's
okay.
what happened. And then we had some that showed up and we didn't even have them, they hadn't come into our court software, so it was quite a calamity before you got here.
Oh.
Anyway, so.
Okay.
So if it shows up, I'll let you do your thing, and I'll take care of that.
I actually did my homework on this, so
Okay.
they're well. should be on, shouldn't I? Sorry.
Katie?
Yeah, so just, I turned the microphone on. I've entered into the record defaults and bond forfeitures as appropriate. According to the Clerk Mary Geams's notes, will be used if there is a dispute. Katie Hetfeld is a bond forfeiture on both citations. Joey Hoverson is a bond forfeiture. Tyler Horton is a default judgment. Lauren Eel is a bond forfeiture. Michael Janish is a default judgment. Raven Jensen is a bond forfeiture. Cody Johnson is a default judgment on both citations. Wesley Lloyd Edward Jordan Buskager is a default judgment on all 4 citations. Katrina Kane is a default judgment. Ethan Clothis is a default judgment on all 3 citations. Jesse Knipfer is a bond forfeiture. Taylor Krukenberg is a default judgment. Pierre Laplante is a bond forfeiture. Carlos Lopez Colunga is a default judgment on both citations. Jared Lund is a default judgment on both citations. Nathan McKay is a default judgment. Matthew Madonna is a default judgment. Carlos Miguel Manuel Mangual Torres is a default judgment on both citations. Austin Marlowe is a default judgment. Malik Miller is a bond forfeiture. Melissa Moen is a bond forfeiture. Andrew Morrissey is a default judgment. Taylor Merwin is a default judgment on both citations. Ronald Nicholson is a default judgment. Kevin Nunez is a bond forfeiture. Christy Obmasher is a default judgment. Petrona Abigail Ovale is a default judgment on both citations. James Palmer is a default judgment on all 3 citations. Derek Pfeiffer is a default judgment. Tammy Reef is a bond forfeiture. Colin Reese is not guilty. He should be. It's good. Not anytime somebody gets that many pleas, yeah, they should enter not guilty. Christopher William Reynolds is a bond forfeiture. Isabel Rivera is a default judgment. Sarah Roach is a default judgment. William Ortiz is a default judgment. Joseph Ross is a default judgment on both citations. Dustin Rupp is a default judgment on both. Gabrielle Seward is a default judgment. Lily Sorensen is a default judgment. Jacob Sparks is a default judgment.
He's another not guilty.
Not guilty. Change it to not guilty. Melissa Spence is a default judgment. Thomas Statz is a bond forfeiture. Bryce Stallsberg is a default judgment. Somer Stoffringen is a bond forfeiture, Brian Stone is the default judgment on all 3 citations. Blake Swalheim is a default judgment on both citations. Stephen Swanson is a bond forfeiture. Cassandra Thayer is a bond forfeiture. Roberto Torres is a default judgment. Alyssa Tway is a default judgment. Margaret Wagner is a bond forfeiture. Kamar Walls is a bond forfeiture. Brian Weber is a default judgment. Amanda Wilberg is a default no contest.
She entered not guilty, or no contest, but there was no narrative. It was just
Okay.
the not no
So we'll accept her
contest.
plea of no contest and find her guilty. Let's see, Revoluve Williams is a default judgment on both citations. Colin Williamson is a bond forfeiture. Derek Woods is a bond forfeiture. Alexander Zipper is a bond forfeiture. Okay, let me go. I gotta check a couple things, and then I'm gonna go visit the restroom, and I'll be back. So court will be adjourned. Court will be adjourned for 10 minutes. Did you have a click? Was there a click it or ticket, Grant?
When they just give me one for tickets because it's $10 and I can't do any collection on it, it's just they, anyway. We're not on TV anymore.
What's it? There's a Hammer's ticket here? Did I miss that? I know, it's on the docket, but not here.
What was that? I can't see the name from here. I have that.
Cale Ryerson and the other one. Jim Hamlis.
Oh, he entered a not guilty plea this morning, so I took him off the
Okay.
docket, but we
Okay.
had already received the report, so
I got, how many? Two of them?
2 or 3, I think there were 2
Two non-registration.
suspended.
I might reject any type of plea agreement the prosecutor issues. Just order him into court. You know what I mean, Mayor?
Yeah, no, that's just it. He's over $6,000, I believe, for his balance.
Oh, thank you. I'll wait one more minute. Hmm?
When you see Cap, the guy, he's got a lot of older stuff going on here. Bail jumping, so I suppose that's why they. I was surprised that they got these forms back to us, in time, like you had asked them to do, so.
Oh, good. Are you Angela Larson?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We'll call your case, City of Stoughton versus Angela Larson. Are you able to go to the podium? I just asked you to go to the podium if you're okay. So, okay, Ms. Larson, I'll call the case of City of Stoughton versus Angela Larson. And you are Angela Larson?
Yes, sir.
All right. You've completed the affidavit of poverty?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then you're currently receiving medical assistance and veterans benefits?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you swore everything that you stated in the affidavit of poverty is true?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I received a response from the city. They don't object to your affidavit of poverty. I do have to ask you a question. Can you complete any community service?
I can't stand very long, sir. I got a bad knee from combat.
Okay.
I'm 100% disabled vet, sir.
Okay. How much does she owe?
187.
Okay.
I'm a medic on the front lines with the Marines.
All right. With the $187, is there any way you can make a payment plan of, say, $10 a month?
Yes, sir. I could do that.
Okay.
Definitely.
Instead
Thank
of
you.
community service, which would be doubtful, why don't we just enter into a? I'll find that the affidavit of poverty is factual. I'll finding that it's been completed. I'll find that you are in need that you are meet the definitions of poverty under the guidelines, but instead of I'll find that you're disabled and can't do community. Well, you might be able to do community service, but it would be easier for you to pay $10 a month until the $187 is paid off.
Yes, sir. I got 7 years with the Dane County Humane Society, volunteer, when I would come home on leave.
Okay, but what I'll do is I'll order that you pay a payment plan of $10 a month, and that will be paid off in 19 months.
Okay, thank you, sir.
That will be the affidavit, and we'll send you all the paperwork. Is your address still the same?
Yeah, 1233 Jackson Street.
Apartment 109.
Correct, sir.
Okay, we'll send you the payment plan of $10 a month and make sure that you can pay that in, and we'll send you the address where you can forward that then.
Definitely will, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
That will conclude your matter then. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Have a good night.
Oh, one final thing. Ms. Larson, I should have said this. We'll reopen your case. There might be restitution. We haven't received any requests. If there's a restitution hearing, we'll send you a notice of that as well. But we'll hold that open for now.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Hi, are you Brian Alsage?
Yes,
Okay. And you completed the affidavit of poverty as well?
yes, sir.
And everything in here is true?
Yes, sir.
And you're receiving public assistance?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm currently applying to be her caretaker
Okay.
because of her combat experience.
Okay. Now, can you complete community service?
Yes, I could.
Okay.
I just don't know where you'd want me to do it at.
I've got a list of suggestions you want to mail to him?
Well, those are mostly for the students. Would
Okay.
those apply?
I would think so. Okay. Well, let me ask you this. How much is he?
187.
Okay. Can you make a payment plan of $10 a month as well?
To be honest with you, I don't know. I'm not going to sit there and try to promise to do something that I'm
Sure.
unsure.
Here's what I'll do. I will give you 1 year to complete, how many hours of community service? 19 hours of community service. Now, community service has to be work that you normally don't do. You can't be paid for it. It's got to be for public agency or
Yeah.
a charity. So,
So could it be for like working at that youth center downtown?
yes.
Okay. I'd probably just try to work something out with them, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, that's fine. And we'll give you the forms. We'll mail the forms to him.
him.
Yep. Was it 19 hours community service?
19.
19 hours community service within a 1 year time frame.
Okay.
So I'll make the finding the affidavit of poverty is true and correct. I'll make the finding that you are, meet the poverty deadline, definitions. I'll also note that the city has no objections, and I'll require you to complete 19 hours community service within 1 year of today's date, or May 17th, 2024. And we'll
Okay.
send you that information and a list of suggestions. Now, the list of suggestions, that's just suggestions. If you find a place which meets your criteria, you know, meets my criteria, you know, can't be paid, can't be work that you normally receive or do, and you can't be paid for it, then that would be, I would consider that charity. Now, we have a form, just have somebody sign off on it that you completed the community service and submit that to the court.
Okay.
And we'll send that, we'll mail all that to you. Your address is you've updated your address. It's also, it's Bird Street in Stoughton.
Sun Prairie.
Oh, it's up right. Thank you, I actually have that.
That's my mailing address.
Okay. Yeah, there it is. I will make sure that we send that information to you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Oh, one final thing with restitution. The restitution, I'm leaving that issue open with restitution. If somebody
Okay.
files a claim against you, what would happen then is they could request restitution that you pay it. We'd have a hearing on it, and I would make the finding of whether that affidavit of poverty applies to the restitution at that time.
Okay, sir. I understand.
That leaves it open. Okay, anything else for me?
No, sir.
All right, that takes care of it for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I take cigarettes and all, please?
We'll give you whatever. Where's the ticket?
John and I were, Rachel Jones.
Take care of it. Well, quit twisting your wrist. Rather than twisting them, making them walk down. Actually, why don't we all just go downstairs? I think it's much easier. You guys are good up here, right? Yes. Okay.
In fact, court is adjourned. Thank you.